Okay, guys, so I actually found the scripture that speaks of the measurements of Jerusalem. And funny enough, guys, this measurements, the New Jerusalem is actually smaller than the province of Gauteng. Because the Gauteng province, the area in kilometers square is 18,178. That is how big Gauteng is. That's the smallest province in our country now. Let me read the scripture that speaks of the measurements of the New Jerusalem. Now, this comes in, or it's written in Revelation 21, verse 15 to verse 17. And it reads, "The angel who spoke to me had a golden measuring rod to measure the city, its gates, and its wall. The city was perfectly square, as wide as it was long. The angel measured the city with his measuring rod. It was 2,400 kilometers long as and was as wide as high as it was long. The angel measured the wall, and it was 60 meters high, according to the standard unit of measure which he was using." Can you guys see how small the New Jerusalem will be? It will be smaller than the province of Gauteng. And you guys are out here playing. You guys are out here playing, and the New Jerusalem will only have rooms for a small amount of people. This is why it's so important for us to get back into our faith. It's so important for us to get back to God, because there's nothing as painful as going through the tribulation and not making it to heaven. And what is also quite scary is that in heaven, God did say we will recognize each other. So you will recognize the people that are in heaven, and you will know who is there and who is not. You will know that your children didn't go. You will know that your husband didn't come. You will know that your mother's not there. You will know that the siblings that you were fighting with is not there. You will know. We will know each other. And the sad part is that even if you, as a person that is praying, that is trying their best, their level best to try and bring people to God, there are certain things that you just cannot do. You cannot force a person to love God or to go into a relationship with God or to give their heart and their lives to God. You can but just pray for them. So I think that that's what we should do. We should just pray for those that don't know who God is. We should pray that God saves them, because at the end of the day, when I was also reading Revelation, like I said before, like there were people that held on to false gods, and they continued to worship these false gods, and they continued to live their lives in sin. They did not care. They were sexually immoral. Like, imagine going through a plague and you're still sexually immoral. Like, what is it that then it means that these things have a hold on you? It means that they truly, truly have a hold on you, because you can't be going through the tribulation and still be praising false gods. There's something wrong. Still be sinning. You're going through the most in your life and you're still sinning. You're losing everything. You're still sinning. You're being tortured. You're still sinning. And the way for you to stop it is just to give your heart and give yourself and give your life and give your soul to God. And there are people that will still continue. That for me is just like, Lord, what else can we do to save our fellow man? Because I can tell you that a lot of us are going to cry. And God even says He's gonna wipe away your tears, and there will be no more pain, no more sorrow. There will be no more night. There won't even be a sun, because God Himself will light up the world for us. So what are we doing? What are we doing to make sure that not only we are entering into the kingdom, but our children, so our children know God, Have you introduced God to your children? Have you introduced God to your partner, to your friend? Have you introduced God to these people so that they may know that there is a God? If they reject God, that's okay, but have you introduced God to them? It's not enough that you are saved, but your husband isn't saved and your children isn't saved. Have you introduced God truly, truly? Have you tried your utmost best to introduce God to your children, to your friends, to your even to our parents? Some of our parents are not saved, guys. Some of our parents are not saved. They're not living life according to what God says we should live. And this is why also our houses are such a mess, because the head of the home don't know who God is. The head of the household don't know who God is. And this is why 90% of households in our country is just a mess, because abantu badala don't know who God is. Die ou mense weet nie wie God is nie. Hulle weet nie hoe om te bid nie. Hulle weet nie hoe om na God toe te draai, om hulle lewe aan God te gee en om hulle kinders ook aan die Here aan voor te stel. Hulle weet nie dit nie. This is why our households are so upside down, because our parents themselves are also lost, and that causes a generational, train of children being lost. And it's going to take so much for those children to break off and break away from that train. That is because, when you see a train, the what is connected to the main thing, or the control room, the control room is the only place where you can control where the train goes. Everything else attached to it goes where the control room takes it. So now imagine if you have a family, or you have a head of family that don't know who God is, and they just leading their children into spaces where they might never even get out of. But I truly believe that God saves. And even Christ said, that there are some of my sheep that is not in my sheepfold, and they know me and I know them. They know my voice, and I will call them and they will come to me. So I have that faith that even though there are people that don't know who God is, but at the end of the day, in their hearts, God has placed it in their hearts so that they may know who He is. God is there. The light is there. It doesn't matter if they're not going to church. It doesn't matter if they're not praying to Him. But God says, I know my sheep. I know my sheep. I know my sheep. And I am the shepherd, and they know me. So when I call them, they will come to me. So that gives me faith that even though you might see people not living according to what God says we should, they might just be the 99% that God saves. God might just remember them. But anyway, you guys, let me end my vlog here with the scripture. I hope you guys are having an amazing Sunday. I pray that this flu goes away so that I can be at my most 100%. Had a lovely day at church also. It was Mother's Day ceremony, and yeah. So happy Mother's Day to all the mothers also out there, and may God continue to bless you. May God continue to keep you, in His memory, and to keep you in His thoughts, and to continuously bless you with the strength and the patience to take care of your families also. But yeah, God bless and God bless.